Hey y'all, welcome back. So in the last video, what I showed was how to add a tracker, add an assessment to a tracker. So I'm in my reading block 1 funny class here that I'm using. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to add multiple assessments here. I already have one, but I'm going to have, you know, 4, 3, 4, I don't know, maybe upwards of 5, 6 CFAs to have these standards, especially if it's one that goes all year long. You may check for understanding throughout the year, so you may have more than one tracker. So as you can see here, it shows that it has this little document with a 1 next to it. That shows that I have one assessment tied to that standard. So what I'm going to do is I want to add another assessment to it. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to add another assessment. But when I click on assess, it goes in. It doesn't give me the blank screen like it did on the other videos where it said, hey, I want you to go in and I want to add an assessment. I can do this a number of ways. So there's 3 or 4 different ways to do this, and I'll just show you one of the easiest ones for me is I can just go to this document off to the side and I can just say, okay, all right, I want to go in and I want to add an assessment. So I click it, it pops up. I can do it from, create a new one if I want to, all the options that they gave us in the last videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search the community again. I'm going to go out there. Well, there's only this one. Well, I can go out and I can do it, but you know what? For this standard, I don't really like that one, so I'm not going to use it. So I'm going to go back to my tracker, so I'll hit my back button. I'm going to go back to my tracker. Say, well, this isn't a standard. I want to create one for this, and I want to come back to this one later, so I'll go here. It gets me back into my standards. I'm going to go to RL9. I'm going to assess. Because, time is of the essence here. We don't want to spend a whole lot of time doing this, looking through. It does take time, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to spend a whole lot of time if it's not something that I necessarily really have to have. So I can add an assessment here. I can also add an assessment up here if I want to this standard. But I'm going to go ahead and do it here since it's the easiest. It's the one right next to it. Search the community. When I go back out, remember I have 3 levels of mastery. So these ones that have the 4 levels of mastery, that the author sets the parameters on those and the levels of mastery. Then I can use those and convert them like I did in one of the videos. But on this one, I'm just going to go ahead and say, hey, you know what? This is another just CFA that I'm wanting to do, and this one has 3 levels of mastery because I don't want to convert. This is one, unless it's one, like I said, that I absolutely have. So I'm going to go ahead and I can click on this, go in, and I can add to the tracker, and I can go in like I did last time. Obviously, you want to go in and take a look at it. That's why I always click. This is how I always add it to my tracker here, because I want to take a look at it first. But in case you don't take a look at it first, let me click the back button. Now, like I said, there's several different ways to add it to the tracker. So this is the one that I wanted right here. So I can go in, and instead of doing that, going in and looking at it, you can see it's very up to date. It was just a couple weeks ago. I'm filming this on the 16th, so yeah, you look at it 12 days ago. So I can go in and I can click add right here. So I can go in. Obviously, I have more options off to the side. I'll click that on where you can clone. It's the same thing that's inside here. I can bookmark if I want a quick bookmark and come back to it. But I want to add, and I automatically want to add it to that tracker, and it'll ask me, it'll pop up the exact same way. So I add tracker, go in, and it already has it highlighted for me. It knows what tracker it's going to go into. It's reading block 1, English language arts. So I can go in and I can add that. Add that tracker, and you can see it automatically adds to RL9. So now RL9 has 2, the one that I renamed reading, and then it had in an earlier video, and then it has the comparing passages here. And now I have 2 CFAs logged in here. So you can add, and you can just keep adding an assessment. I can go in, click, go to my community, or ones that I've already created, and let's say I've uploaded 10 or 15 of them because I know this is one of my CFAs that I've created with my team. then I can go in and do that. Hey, this looks like a great one right here. I'm going to go in. I'm going to add the tracker. All right, no standards aligned. So if it's not aligned to any standards, I don't necessarily want it. So go in, and you may have some of these issues when you go in and you look at it, and that's perfectly fine. Like I said, you can always download. You can get it in other means of getting in that tracker. You can pull it out, create your own, copy and paste, and then use it as one of your own if you change it up a little bit. So I'm gonna add this to tracker. It says standards align. All right, create. I can go in and I can clone and all that stuff. I'm not going to go through all that hassle. So let me go back. It's great when you get on here and you get recording and you don't things don't seem to want to work the way that you want them to. So go in, and I see that. I'm going to add it to my tracker. Standard align again. Create. Go in. I can clone like I did last time. Subject, so on and so forth. So I can go in and clone, but that's how you add multiple assessments to your tracker. You can go in and just, all right, see, now I have the two that are next to this. So I could go in here and I could add standards, and you can just continuously go through and add multiple CFAs or assessments if you'd like. But like I said, if you run into any of those problems where it's not aligned to the standards, obviously I don't want to make the video too long, so I'm not going to go in and convert any of that stuff. So if you wanted to go in and you can just keep adding them off to the side on either one here.